Stories of innovation and success from the vibrant communities of rural Nova Scotia. This is Ignited.
Hi, I'm Wade Cleveland.
And I'm Amanda Langley.
And this is Ignited the Podcast, the Female Founders Edition. Amanda, thank you for being here.
I am so excited.
Amanda is our marketing guru. She is also a female entrepreneur herself. Tell me how your experiences have helped your ability to do this.
It's been so exciting to listen to these women's stories, and I'm a big fan of Wade and the Ignited podcast. I do the social media for Ignite. So I've been involved in promoting the podcast, but to be able to sit behind the microphone and really listen to these ladies has been so inspiring. As a female entrepreneur myself, my husband and I own Super Yacht East Coast, a marketing and communications platform for marine tourism for the province. It's humbling and inspiring to listen to the similarities and also the differences that we all share.
Well, Amanda, for this final episode of our Women's Founders series, we're chatting with Laura Muise, an entrepreneur and restaurateur well known in the Yarmouth area. Now, Laura has spent years involved in the local food scene here with local restaurant Rudders, as owner of a beautiful restaurant called the Hatfield House, and as a food blogger and influencer with her blog Laura's Tastes. Now, Laura is on not just an entrepreneurial journey, but a spiritual one, and her latest venture, Inner Oaks, reflects that. Located on the Quinnen River in a small, idyllic property, Inner Oaks offers culinary experiences, special events, and private events, all with a spiritual element. Let's go way back in time. A bit of your background. You spent a lot of time in the restaurant business. I remember you from the days of Rudders. Was that your first big exposure to working in restaurants, or was it before then? Or?
Yeah, oh my gosh. You know, I started out in the restaurant business as a dishwasher at Braemar Lodge. You remember that?
I sure do.
Yeah, at 13 years old.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah. And then I worked as a waitress here and there and as a line cook at different places. You remember Fred at the Rainbow? Loved Fred.
Yeah.
So I worked my way up, and you know, I've had a long career in the restaurant business, and I had my own shop too, More Than Yogurt, in the mall.
I didn't realize that was you.
Yes, I started that. I was the first to bring frozen yogurt to the Maritimes.
Oh, wow.
I think I was around 21 or 22.
The mall here?
Yes. So we served it on a cone. We made sundaes. I sold it in takeout packs. I was always an entrepreneur for a long time. My dad was an entrepreneur. He was a boat builder.
Do you think that being an entrepreneur is kind of there's a mindset there? Is it something that you kind of automatically lead toward?
Do you think it can be learned, or do you think you have that?
You know, that's an excellent question. When I was growing up, I have there was 8 of us, 4 boys, 4 girls.
Wow.
My dad was an entrepreneur, a boat builder, a fisherman, and all 7 of my siblings, and none of us have gone to university, yet we have all become very successful entrepreneurs.
That's so
and
interesting.
so I think our dad and mom set a wonderful example for us.
So you go
in
from
the genes.
Yeah, and I think it is kind of in the way you're brought up, but it's the way you kind of learn to look at things.
I believe it is. And you know, what's interesting, I believe I was 12 years old. I was with my dad. We were delivering a boat to New Brunswick. And when we got there and offloaded the boat, the gentleman says to my dad, I want to order another boat. And he built wooden skiffs, 13 foot to 25. Mm-hmm. And I took over the conversation at the age of 12 or 13, and I said, oh, that's wonderful. So what size would you like? And, you know, I personally paint the boats, and what color? You know, color's important.
Gosh, I love it.
And so where did that come from? I have no idea. And he looked at my dad, and he said, who is she, your secretary?
That's great.
Let's talk about your restaurant, Hatfield House. Your Hatfield House was something. It was a really remarkable restaurant. The service that you offered, and it always seemed to align with you. The food was wonderful, but you were always prominent. You were, you know, the host. You were the one who...
You're part of the brand.
Yeah, you were. You were the brand when it comes right down to it.
Oh my gosh, that's what they told me, Amanda. I was the brand. I heard that over and over, but, you know, it started the day that I wanted to buy the house. I mean, honestly, I am spiritually guide it, and that's a big part of what I do as an entrepreneur. But when I saw that house, you should have heard me. Oh my gosh, that house is for sale. Did you know that house is for sale? I want to go see that. I mean, today, and I did. I got in to see that house that day on a Sunday. By Wednesday, I put an offer. By Friday, I owned it, and the rest
You manifested it.
I believe I did, and there was actually spirit guides in the house, and I'm going to be telling more about that as I go along and come out. So yeah,
Running the restaurant, starting from scratch, what was that like for you?
oh my gosh, well, I have to tell you, I started blogging my Laura's Taste site 12 years. It's been about 12 years that I've been doing that, or 13, and I started collecting ideas along the way. So I had a little black book that I carried with me in all my travels. So I opened that up, and I just created this. I just put my heart and soul into that place, and I brought all my ideas in, and it just all, as you say, Amanda, manifested. It just unrolled. And every time I came into something difficult, it was almost like the highway, it just got cleared. Like whatever my issues were just gone.
And how many years did you run Hatfield House?
I had it for 4 years. I ran it for 3. It was always a 3 to 5 year project.
Okay. So you had that plan in mind.
Let's get to that, because I didn't realize that Hatfield House came after the Laura Taste blog. So you started putting that blog together. That blog actually became a big part of...
It was almost like your business plan for
Yeah.
Hatfield House, it sounds like.
Right. Well, you know that I was at Rutter's Seafood for a full decade. We had a team there that worked together and made that very successful in its first 10 years of operation, right? And then when I retired, which was about 10 and a half years, I was turning 46 years old. I had just stepped down from the restaurant business, and I was tired. I mean, really, really tired. And I had plans to take the coming year to relax and travel with my husband. He invited me to go to the hotels with him so we could have coffee in the mornings and dinner at night. And what was that? Because I put my life into Rutter's for a full decade, right? So
This was going to be a new chapter.
it really was, and it was a happy time for both of us and necessary reconnection of sorts after more than a full decade of us both being busy with all these work obligations. So what could I do from the hotel room while he was at work all day? So I started to think, because I wanted to be adventurous. I wanted to be expansive, because I'm always learning and expanding. And so I thought I would teach myself how to write. And I didn't realize at the time, but I believe I was being guided to write for what was to come down the road. But I started Laura's Taste, and I started writing about food. I started writing about what I knew, and I taught myself how to write that way. Am I perfect? No, but I'm still learning and expanding. So.
And was that kind of during the time when blogs were becoming popular, or was it before that?
I think there was a lot of blogs out at the time.
Because for a while, blogs were like
Everything.
they were the
podcasts.
podcasts of that era.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And you were doing a lot of it. And
I was a lot. And I have a funny story to tell you, actually.
Okay, well,
But
yeah.
First of all, I just want to know, why was your husband in hotels? What was he traveling
Oh,
for?
he with his work, he would travel,
Okay.
and he'd be away. So often I'd be here working, and he'd be gone for work.
This gave you an opportunity to go
Yeah,
and see
so-
the world and be
Yes,
together
and
more.
then and plus just take longer vacations this time away from the workforce for me to pursue a passionate interest like cooking, and sharing it and sharing my travels as well was wonderful. It was just so uplifting, and I was exactly where I needed to be. I had worked hard, and it was time.
It was more than just about the food. To me,
Yes.
the blog was always about the travel, too. There was a lot of adventures involved.
A lot. And I had my little black book with me every time, and I wrote down everything that I liked. And so that's why I called my blog Laura's Taste. So what does Laura like? I know, it sounds a little self-centered, right? But really, I feel that I stand for a bit of excellence. And I like things to be good, tasty, and look good. And it's just, who I am. It's part of my passion.
I wanted to ask you about a term that came up when I was looking you up on Google.
Oh, the terms.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's the influencer term, the food influencer. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's a touchy subject,
Yeah.
Anything that's attached to an influencer is a touchy subject.
Yeah.
Okay, in my defense, I just want to say, I have been blogging for a long time. I have a following, a very loyal following. They stop me in the grocery store, literally. Laura, I love your blog. I love your Facebook Laura's Taste site. You influence me. You influence me to buy that package of whatever it is, shrimp, or you encourage me to make that Robbie pie, or oh my gosh, that creamed hot lobster sandwich. So they told me I was an influencer. They went out and bought the products. They made the dishes. But here's the thing. I actually got an email on Instagram from someone I didn't know well who was a marketer. And they said, you're an influencer, right? And I'm like, really? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I went home and I Googled it, influencer. And I read the description. And I remember saying, I'm an influencer.
I guess I'm an influencer.
I guess I am. But the truth is, I don't like to call myself that per se. I'm really a food adventurist.
Yeah. But I think that for some reason, there's a negative connotation with that, and there shouldn't be. I have a mentor, a really good friend of mine. She's older. She's been very successful. She's our partner in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and she always says to me two things. Everybody has fans, and that's okay, and know your worth.
I love that.
And so those two things to me really guide me, and I think it's okay to be proud that you're an influencer. I don't get the whole negative connotations with it.
Thank you for sharing that. Know your worth.
She says that to me all the time.
Important.
Know your worth.
Yeah, and that is not being self-centered. It's not.
But some of those tokens or expressions come off that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but know your worth that's such an important thing to know as an entrepreneur. And I think there's a maritime thing, and I've touched upon this with the podcast, because the podcast usually focuses on rural as opposed to urban. Maritimers have a tendency to be at least self-deprecating, but even...
And it's not humble. It's more than that.
It is.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to think down upon themselves. And I think that's why influencers around here have a negative connotation. Sometimes you're almost afraid to say, well, I'm good enough that I should be here, when you don't want to say that, because within the Maritimes, it's not an easy thing to say, we should be blowing our own horns.
Well, thank you, Wade, and for bringing that up. And to any one of your listeners that are listening here today, the know your worth is key as an entrepreneur, because when you're working within your business and you're building your business and you get 50 positive responses and you get one or two negative,
and you'll think about that negative one.
Right? And it brings you down. And I'm here to tell you, don't let that bring you down.
It's human nature to let that seep in a little bit.
Yeah, focus on the positive and think of how many people you are affecting. And Amanda, I actually have a story, because I got one email from a woman who must be unhappy or angry or whatever it is, and says, "You think you're an influencer?" And I thought to myself, oh, that stings, But I realized it was more about her than me, and I didn't focus on that. Focus on your positives. I love that. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I am doing, actually.
You exude positive energy, so you're doing something well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because things that you have changed a lot in the last decade. Where does that all spring from?
Good food and travel, it sounds like. And maybe a couple cold plunges.
Oh, gosh, yes, I am doing the cold plunges. I've gone every day this winter, except for the days I was away. But, I think about 3 years ago, just before COVID, I had sold my restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm. You sold the Hatfield House?
I sold the Hatfield House. That got sold, and that all just went really, really well. And my heart just kind of stayed there for a while, but I've moved on. And I started doing work to show up as my authentic self. And I believe our creative dreams and yearnings, come from a divine source. And I've learned to get in touch with the silence within myself. And really, this has led me to knowing everything that happens in this life has a purpose. And I think we must be willing to let our inner intuition guide us, which I do, and then be willing to follow that guidance without fear. So I'm here to tell you, fear is not our friend. It's not even real. So I have awakened to that. So thank you for asking me that question. Inner work triggers outer change, and I've been doing a lot of inner work, and I think that's what's showing. And I've had many people come up and say, hey, what's that? I want that. I want to do what you're doing.
I feel like we should maybe have a podcast in the future about conquering fear.
Actually.
It's a separate one because it's a lot
Huge.
to unpack. That's your line.
Huge.
It's a lot to unpack, but it is a whole thing.
And it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I have trouble getting past the big green monster, but once you get past it, whatever
That's before
it might
you have
be,
had your coffee, right?
well, there's that.
Yeah.
But,
Give it a name.
Yep. I admire people who are fearless, and maybe people think of me as fearless. But I'm not. There's this time between probably 4 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. where I stare at the ceiling almost on a daily basis thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in so much trouble because I'm so far out of my comfort zones. And I do that a lot. But then I just get up and do it. But I always have that moment.
Wade and I are always, we were chatting the other day about how we're extroverts, but we're introverted extroverts. So people think we're really outgoing and friendly and we can do stuff like this, but it doesn't mean that we don't get up all in our head about some things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're all human, and I think we have our days. But the days that we have those days is when we shift the spiritual energy, and we all vibrate. We're all energy. We can shift that thought in a second, and I'm getting very good at shifting that.
That's part of entrepreneurship.
And wake up
Big time.
and start with being grateful. Just start with being grateful. Start saying, I am this, I am that. And you want to see your frequency change. And when you're vibrating in a frequency, you will attract the same people on that same plane. Okay? It's like a radio okay, Wade. It's like a radio channel.
It's a radio wave.
Right? You got to go to a certain
Ride
channel,
the wave.
right?
Ride the wave.
Right? Nobody's higher, nobody's lower. It's just a certain channel. And when you're there, other people on that channel come into your life. It's so, oh my gosh, I've just got the shivers right down to my feet. It's real. It's real.
So after you sold the restaurant, you started to feel more of this spiritual awakening? Or
when did this come?
Yeah, so...
When did that become the business, sort of?
Yeah, so it actually happened right away because I moved back to the homestead where I opened Inner Oaks. My next project, honestly thought I had retired, and I do want to share a little bit about that because, I thought I had retired, but I wasn't going to retire. Spirit,
don't feel like you're a
Spirit
person
wouldn't
who can
let
retire.
me. No, what is that, right?
What's calling me next?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And but I think what happened is I'll tell you what happened. I started to get silent. I started to do meditations at the river, the flow of the river. I tuned into the Mother Nature, and I had a lot of spiritual things happen to me. And I had a lot of downloads come in, and I'm not allowed to retire. I have to birth. Something is coming, and I'm being led to do this. So I won't be retiring anytime soon. I just started to do the work on me. I had mentors, I had coaches. Things started to come in. I started to share what I was learning, and it's very, very, very deep. And those that are on a spiritual path will understand what I'm saying here.
And you're going to
it's an awakening.
You're going to have people that are totally not anywhere near that wavelength, and that's okay.
And that's okay. And if I can say this, I am just now, I'm going to use the word coming out. I posted a blog. Laura's Taste, bloggers.com. It's all about food. It's all about travels. Guess what my last post was? It was my sole purpose. And then I share a really interesting story there. And that explains, if you read that, go there and read that. That explains my whole shift and what happened. And I had a diagnosis of something which I don't talk about very often. And that set me on a path. And this is when I realized that when contrast comes into your life, there is a purpose for everything. And if it wasn't for that diagnosis, I wouldn't be where I am today spiritually.
Right.
I love that. You've been doing this as you're doing coaching.
Well, no, I'm not actually coaching, but I'm very generous with sharing what I know. And people come out of the woodwork, they're messaging me, they're emailing me, they're dropping out to Inner Oaks or letting me know they'd like to come out. We have a coffee chat.
So is Laura Tastes the blog now shifting, or are you keeping that up in its own lane?
Well, and see, this is what happened. So I was guided to open this new business. I grow herbs. You know, I'm a cook. I offer culinary experiences. I opened up 3 guest rooms. That's new this year. I'm trying to juggle 2 things that I've been told I need to.
From a marketing branding perspective, those are all you. So that is a brand. I think too much we think, okay, this has to stay in this lane, this has to stay in this lane. But if you own it, that is your brand. And there's a way to do that.
In the same way that Hatfield House became you, the 2 different things need to align because they're both you. You are the brand.
You know, I hear that so often, Wade. I've loved every career that I've had. I put my heart and soul in it, and it became me. It did.
I think that shows how much you put into yours. If you become the brand of whatever it is that you're selling or doing, that shows how all in you are.
Right? And I try not to do that exactly. Like, I don't necessarily want to be the brand for going forward into Inner Oaks. You know, I'm educating people how to grow herbs, how to harvest them, and how to incorporate them into tasty, tasty dishes, you know, which we all grow herbs and let them go to waste. So I want people to know, and I love Mother Earth, and I want to honor Mother Earth, and that I would share it with people. And that's my mission statement for Inner Oaks.
Okay. And how long have you been doing Inner Oaks specifically?
I'm starting my 3rd year already.
Year 3.
But the stay there are new, the 3 rooms.
Brand new, just getting ready. I kind of finished them last year, and I did have some guests last year. So new this year is a 24-hour soul boost, and you can come out and stay overnight, but you get all your meals, and then you get to spend time with me. And we really, I do a self-assessment, and what is it you need? Where are you in your life? Tell me about yourself, and let's do this. You know, so I work with the client, and then they stay overnight. So this is brand new. Let's see how it unfolds. I'm being led to do it, so it's not my idea exactly. So
no, I know, but you have spent in the last while. I've been following you fairly closely on social media.
Sounds a bit creepy, Wade.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I don't mean it that
not
way.
Gonna lie.
No.
Yeah, but you do mentor a lot of people. You may not be doing it as a job or as a career, but you have been very generous with your time. And there's been a lot of people who have kind of gravitated towards you and the different things that you're doing. Things like the cold dips. You've done a lot. And I know you've had events here at Ignite in Yarmouth, actually, that kind of gathered a whole bunch of people together.
Yeah, and I really do come, thank you, Wade. I come from a space of, as a woman entrepreneur, I am led by my spirituality. You know, I go quiet and I listen. I listen what my intuition wants to tell me. And when I can't get quiet enough, it's just little whispers, you know? But then when I can really get quiet and centered and balanced, I actually get full lines of what I need to do. So I follow those. And they're all in order. They're like little breadcrumbs. It's hard for me to explain this, but those that are listening that have this will know exactly what I'm talking about. I've just got these little breadcrumbs. Okay, do this. Okay, do this.
I think you're very in tune with what's going on in your body. And
unbalanced.
I think a lot of people would just love to soak up some of that, knowledge of how to do that, because the world is busy and loud.
And I had some guests come out last year, and they're like, you know, Laura, when I'm on this property, I feel like it is such a soul boost. Like, and then I heard it, soul boost.
And you were like, check, that's what my states are going to be about.
That's what we're looking for.
Write that in the black book.
I jumped on it. So listen and then take action. Okay, key, because if we listen and we don't do anything about it, we just missed an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You should write a book. Which leads us to something.
That's a good segue.
Yeah, because I didn't know about this until today, but you were writing one.
Yes, and I am writing a book. It's scheduled for release in the fall of 2023. But here's the funny thing. I have, like I said, been food blogging on Laura's Taste Facebook site for so long, and everyone would come in and they would say, you need to write a cookbook. You need to do a cookbook. I must have heard it 100 times, and it didn't resonate with me. Why not? I'm talking about food every day.
You were supposed to write.
Right? I didn't get excited. I thought, no, there's too many cookbooks out there. Like, no, I'll just share here or whatever. But then, all of a sudden, this is my spiritual journey. This is what I resonate with.
Do you have a title for the book?
I do, but I can't tell you right now. But it has to do with your birthright and your inheritance that's waiting for you. Wade, you, Amanda, you, everybody I know, we all have an inheritance. And I'm writing about that because a lot of people don't know. They have no idea. And so this is my sole purpose. I know now. It's my mission.
How long have you been writing this?
I started in the September of 22.
So it'll be a year when it comes out.
About a year, but the thing is, I'm going to get really busy at Inner Oaks. So I've got to continue writing and make time for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on chapter 9, and I think there's going to be 16 chapters. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm looking for a good editor if anybody's listening.
I know a couple.
But it's going to be it's fascinating.
I'm not your girl. I'm the idea girl. I am not the editor.
I'd love to have a coffee with you, Amanda. I can see that happening. Yeah, but thank you for asking about my book. I really appreciate that, Wade. And it's another heart and soul passion that it's just going to be good. You're going to love it.
Tell me about your process. I'm really curious about how that works.
I heard you say that you like to write in the morning.
Yes. Okay. So for me, I need to be when I write because, yes, I'm learning to be a writer. And I realize that you don't need to be, you just got to get it down on paper because we have editors who can fix all those little things. And I've been criticized for my spelling over the years, and that's fine. But you have to know your worth. And you just have to put it down on paper. My process in the morning, you asked me, I like to write early in the morning because my frequency is higher. And when I go to bed at night, I actually get my vibration up before I go to bed. So when I wake up, I'm in the vortex, if you know what I mean by that. I don't know if you know.
No.
But I keep my vibration very high. So when I wake up in the morning,
it's stored.
Yeah, and I do a Vipassana meditation, and it's where you go through each part of your body. You start at your head, you work your way down your face, and you go right down to your feet and all the way back up again. You give attention to each part of your body until it vibrates.
Okay.
Okay, and what you're doing is you're lifting your vibration, and then you're grateful. Just start, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for another day. I just woke up, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that are going to be available to me today. What an exciting day. Thank you, Spirit. So that's how I start my day. And the other thing of interest for me is I just started reading The Artist's Way. It's a book by Julie Cameron, and it's a 12-chapter, you do one chapter a week, and it's for creators. And I'm telling you, I'm starting chapter 2 this week, and I know it's going to help me in my writing as well.
It's always interesting to me what somebody can grab onto that gives them that inspiration. And it can be so many different things, but I'll have to look that book up.
Yeah. It's amazing. But I love being a woman entrepreneur, and I love bringing the whole spiritual part into it. Blending the two. I can't work from another space. That's who I am, and I've realized that. And when you said I've changed, yeah, I've changed because I know who I am. I know my self-worth. I know I have an inheritance waiting. I'm in it, and it's more to come for me and also you and everybody out there. So.
Does that confidence, do you think, come from experience? And I hesitate to say age, but I find as I've gotten older, I've realized that I'm not the same person I was. You use your experiences kind of to grow. And so you hit a point where you actually have more that you can share that makes sense to you.
Absolutely. Age definitely has something to do with it, Wade. But I have met young women in their 30s and 40s who are shifting and they're expanding. And I'm so proud of them because I wish I had done that at 30 and 40 instead of just work hard, put my head down. Imagine where we would be today if we did it when we were 30 and 40, right?
That's true.
So,
and you have time for that life balance. So if you can create that at an earlier age, you can get that much further along. And
that's my goal, to be like a guiding light. So if anybody wants to talk, and help them get where they want to go, right? Everybody, it's free will. It might be good for me, but it might not be good for the next person. It's where their soul is calling them and when they're ready.
I think we need to do a podcast at Inner Oaks.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Oh, anytime. You are welcome to come to my soul boosting place. And,
I'd love to do
and
that.
the food's pretty amazing too. I'll tell
I
you.
bet you. That's for sure.
Yeah. One thing I would just like to say is that it did take me a long time to come out to be visual, with the spirituality part, because people know me as a woman entrepreneur. They know me as a restaurateur, and they know me as a food blogger.
Did you feel like it was a risk? Did you feel like people would judge you?
Yes. So, and that's the thing, because it took me a while to come out. I had been criticized in the past and took it personally. So I had to, it's like a suitcase. I am like a suitcase where I started taking things out of my suitcase, all the heavy stuff. This goes, that goes, this goes, this goes. And I let more light come in my suitcase so I could bring in some different things. And that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, I just woke up, mainly this fall. It was like I knew my worth. I was confident. I knew by coming out I could get criticized because people like to be critics and they like to put their thoughts out there. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people have dreams or had passions and had dreams, and it got squashed for whatever reason. And then when other people come out and they shine their light, there's a little bit of, who do they think they are? Instead of being happy for that person, So just in closing, it took me a while to come out because of that. But I'm ready. I'm stepping aside from fear, and I'm stepping into my trust and my courage, and I'm surrendering to that, and let's see what comes.
Well, as women and in entrepreneurs, and this is what we say with Igniting Women in Business series, we're stronger when we cheer each other on. So I think you're a great example of being fearless and not letting any critics' rumblings in the background control what we're going to do.
Thank you, Amanda. I mean, we're all human, right? We all have our days, but if we're aware of what's going on, we can nip it quicker, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Time to shine.
Time to shine.
To find out more about Inner Oaks Holistic Approach, visit their website, www.inneroaksholisticaapproach.com. You can follow them on Facebook as well. Follow the Laura Tastes blog at laurastastes2011.blogspot.com. You can find it if you Google it, and on Instagram under Laura's Tastes NS. And to find out more about rural innovation and what Ignite does, check out igniteatlantic.com. We hope you like this episode and our Women's Founders series. We'd love it if you subscribed to Ignited, shared us with your friends, and gave us a good review. Check out past episodes of Ignited here and wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'd love to hear from you. Any comments or suggestions about the podcast or who you'd like to hear on it are most welcome. Our website again, igniteatlantic.com, and my email is wade@igniteatlantic.com. Amanda, thank you so much for co-hosting this. It has been an absolute ball to be able to...
We've had a little bit of fun, Wade.
Yeah, we've had more than a little bit of fun, and I think you should come back and do more.
I think we should. I think we will think up another series. You won't be able to get rid of me that easy.
I'm Wade Cleveland.
And I'm Amanda Langley.
We'll talk again soon.